while, about taking myself about 17 years, starting with radio, which Belinda too was, and moved to the paper, that's Monitor Publications. I've spun through the civil society world with Civil South Africa. I've been through insurance with AfriSafe, but all that I do communications and business development. So those are the things that I normally work with. But running to your screen, I hope all of you can see me. And before I continue, I'd just like about one or two people to tell me they can hear me very clearly and very, very well. So just a quick check in with everyone. Can you hear me?
I'm your guinea pig here. I
Oh,
can
you're the
hear
guinea
you.
pig. Absolutely.
Yes, I
Awesome.
can hear you. I can see you, and I can see the presentation. So we're
Thank you.
good.
Thank you so much. So today we are looking at a couple of things on etiquette. It's something that we look out every day, and well, many assume they know what etiquette is, and others also assume it's not something that is valuable for you, especially if you're running a small, small or medium enterprise. And even if it was not just an SME, MSME, if it was something bigger than that, most do not really look at it as a valuable asset in terms of what you communicate. But this is something very valuable for each and every one of you who would like to be part of how you can reach out to the different communities, different targets, different audiences, different people that you interact with on a daily, especially if you are to grow your business, grow your brand, enhance your brand to a level where if somebody spoke to you on one of those days, they believe, or if somebody just had a conversation somewhere, random conversation, either pedestrian conversation, either boardroom conversation, um, somebody can quickly mention and say, I know Belinda Namtevi, I know Undava, I know, I can vouch for them. And because you see, I'm going to use again a guinea pig of Belinda saying that if you look at Undava, most times it's a catchy phrase. It's a very key catchy phrase. We all know Undava means you see me, look at me. You can visualize me. That's what we see. But do we know how much it has been pushed through? Look at Enterprise Uganda. When you look at Enterprise Uganda, the first word is enterprise. You know, we're talking about entrepreneurs. We're talking about things that build businesses, services, and all that. So those are things you need to look out for from there. So we're going to look at how to master communication etiquette, and we're going to juggle through different fields of how this etiquette can enhance us. And if you look through my screen, I will start straight away by engaging with you by telling you that every time you're going to interact with people, just know that you are not speaking to just hello and that's it. For example, I'll give an example. Many times we receive calls for somebody asking for our services or asking, and we are accustomed or we're designed to say hello, but how do we reach out beyond the hello? Now, normally when we talk with our target or clients or whoever we are looking out for, the first thing that we need to look out for here is that every time you speak to someone, and you're going to speak out to, especially if it's a physical engagement, like right now, I'm looking at all of you, and the first thing I would like to do is maintain an eye contact to my screen. And this is very important. Um, your client, every time you have a conversation, especially if it's a one-on-one, or even if it was a whole room and I was speaking to you, I would definitely be looking out at each and every one of you in the eyes, in the face. What does that create? It creates an intimate connection between me and you. It creates an intimate connection between you and your client. It creates an intimate connection between you and the people that you are speaking to. Eye contact is very important. Well, many of us, some of us rather, may not be able to look at people in the eyes. If you definitely can't look at in the eyes directly, because sometimes it is rude to look at somebody in the eyes. There's also a catch 22 there. If you are able to look in between, from, for example, the forehead, that allows you to look like you are looking into their eyes. But that enables you to create that eye contact. But even if you do not know how to do eye contact, you need to learn how to do eye contact, because this is very important in for you who is running an enterprise, who is offering a service to whoever you are speaking to. And that is something that is key for me, reaching beyond the hello, because I can't just say tell you hello, hello Belinda. I need to say hello Belinda, how have you been? It's been a while. It's been a long time. We haven't spoken for a while, but how are you doing? And Belinda definitely will say, oh yeah, last time I remember, there was something, you're doing something with Ondava. How is it now? So Belinda will start saying, oh, Ondava is actually doing very well. We've gotten to a point where we have sold about 70,000 t-shirts to people that are traveling. So that already is something. And every time you maintain that eye contact, you're going to have this conversation flowing. It enables the conversation to go beyond. Again, how do we reach beyond hello? Now, every time you are going to speak to people, um, okay, not necessarily now on a physical level, but at a level where you probably are going to write either digital media, your social media handles, or whatever it is, you need to weave relatable stories into your presentation. These things that will support you to do more than just the hello, because a hello enables us to go beyond the words that we've said at the beginning of the introduction, hello. So it should be hello. I'm Sean Oseku. I work with Enterprise Uganda. Last year, we supported more than 110% of our clients, of our entrepreneurs, in doing so many services, in the PTS services and stuff like that. So you're getting into a conversation of where somebody will be listening to you. And of course, every time above the hello, encourage questions, especially if you've spoken to the person with them, and if the questions are genuine, however uncomfortable they might be, just provide thoughtful responses. Be always thoughtful of that. It's not just about you. It's not about your ego. It's not about your sentiments towards the person, because most times the person is going to ask and say, "How come we don't have your products here?" And maybe their tone is even not good. So that hello will be like, oh, we actually planning to open a center probably in February 2024, 2025 rather, and we will be there and we'll definitely let you know on that's a way of encouraging the person to ask questions, because after that it'll be like, so when you come, what are you offering us? So those are some of the things we're going to be looking out for. Another thing that I look at as etiquette that people ignore, especially for the small enterprises or people who are offering services. Normally, we've encouraged conversation through many mediums. One of them is WhatsApp. The other could be your Instagram. The other could be your TikTok or whatever of those social media or digital media sites you use. Now, using emojis should be a thing that many should know when and how and where to use them. Why? Because if we are chatting and you're asking, I am the person that's running probably a small business or a service to you, and the person is chatting back to you, it will be so rude for you to say hello dear, and then you drop in an emoji, because you barely know the person. This sharing of emojis could be a bit, it has a personal touch if you know the person. You are very comfortable with the person. But even though you're comfortable with the person, professionally, keep the conversation clean. Don't use emojis. Have a good use. Use your judgment very well before you use an emoji. Some of them may be very inappropriate to use, and this happens normally. You've seen when we people asking to buy probably phones through dealers online, or buying shirts or trousers or whatever it is, and you reach out, hello, how much is this? And somebody puts 150,000, 150,000 shillings with a smiley emoji. That would be a bit insensitive. You do not know if the person is comfortable with that emoji. So the best you can do is give the price, let the price speak for itself. If there's room for you to negotiate, that should be it. But you should always have a good sense of judgment when using emojis. There are various emojis we use, very many. Just be very careful of how you use them. The GIFs that we share during our personal conversations should not be the way we use them when we're using them professionally. So be very, very clear from the beginning that whenever you are going to chat or you are having a conversation with a client, with a target, with a customer, with a potential, with whoever it is, just ensure that you do not use emojis. Just ensure that you do not use emojis. If from the level of professionalism your business has engaged to bosom or personal buddies, maybe, but again, be very careful. Keep your relationship very professional, especially with your clients. The friendship may go a little deeper, but still be professional, because then at the end of the day, you actually have created a small a boundary that does not tell that, okay, we can do beyond this. This is a bit, but we can keep it at this level that I am providing you a service, and this is what it will be. Um, Another thing that I thought I would move to very quickly is that um, every time you interact with people, and this goes back a bit to what we said in the beginning, prioritize active listening and maintain a very respectful tone to everyone. Why? Um, it goes back to what I said earlier when we started, is that when a client or your target or your potentials reach out, or even if they're not your potential client or target, but they have reached out and said, hello, how are you? Be very listening, be very welcoming. Welcome the person. Hello, how are you? Welcome to Enterprise Uganda. My name is Sean Oseku. I am the communications manager, and I'm going to help you today. How may I be of help? Person, of course, will start telling you what they need to tell you. But as you've gone to that level of like, how can I help you today? Listen, let the person speak. Let the person ask a question, whichever way they're going to ask you. Yeah. And then, if it's not that it's a physical one and it's a virtual one like this, the tone at which we speak with people is very important. Every time we speak with people, you had how folks call, and okay, I'll take this for example for a very busy enterprise somewhere. Most times we receive like 10 calls almost at the same time. How do you maintain that respectful tone? Well, it's very easy to maintain that. It is who you get, it's how you get into character for the day and know that today I am speaking to people. There are going to be probably 20 calls coming in about 30 minutes. How do I reach out to them? So, if, say, for example, Ronald from Enterprise calls, hello, my name is Ronald and I'm calling from, say, hello, Ronald, thank you for getting in touch with Enterprise Uganda. How can I help you today? Now, you see, you need to say, okay, Ronald, this particular thing I may not be aware, but I'm going to patch you into a friend, to a colleague who knows better. Could you just hold the line and get back? And then, after Ronald is gone and Belinda is calling also at that point, get to Belinda too and be maintain the same way. I usually equate it to radio presenters. People always wonder and say, I met a radio presenter, and when they're speaking to me, they're a little different from how they sound on air. Now, they are in character when they're on air because they'll come and say, hi, a very warm welcome. Welcome to 94.3 Enterprise FM. My name is Sean, and I'm taking you all the way to. So that is character. Yeah. And they'll keep it on for some time. And that's the same way if you are going to handle a certain way of talking to clients. Be in character, but in character, maintain or keep your real self within character so that you are not found offensive and all that. So, and part of it is that every time you speak to these guys as they are talking to you, be very exercise patience to listen. Do not interrupt when they're asking until their question is done, and then you can jump in and say, okay, I believe this is what you needed, we can help you this. And of course, making judgments. How do you personally choose how to answer to somebody? Be very there's going to be another client who is going to come to you in a much more rude tone. How do you deal with that person? Sebo, oliotya, kakati, nze nagambye luli, ebintu byaffe tebinaba kutuuka. So it'll be like, sebo gye baleko. Wagambye ddi ebintu ki bye badde obuuza? Ne otutojjukira. Said, bambi okuggyako bw'onzijukiriza ddi lwakoze, nja kuba nkimanyi. Nyamba, nkuyambe. That tone is enough to, relax the person and get the person talking to you in a much more way. And that goes a long way in creating a huge brand impression, because the way you talk to this person is the way the person equates with that brand. We've gone to places and just one person is very rude, and what do we say? Almost the entire business is that is not right. So if you're running a small business or even a medium size, and probably you're employing a couple of people, please train them to be very respectful when they're speaking to people. Their tone, train people about using their tone of language, and train them to be very active listeners in when they're dealing with different people that they work with, that they should be working with at that point. Next is, I just want to discuss something on customer service, because I believe that in customer service is the foundation of things that really grow what you as a business or a service will be as you offer, as you put your offerings out there for people to be with you. So one of the things that I looked at in one of the etiquettes that I look out for in customer service, and again goes back to just what we're talking about here about prioritizing active listening and maintaining a respectful tone. Here now we're going into the part where we say always exercise empathy. You need to train your team again to be very active listeners, and they should always empathize with customers' concerns. Um, this is something that grows a brand so much. If you have people entirely all throughout talking to you and you are so empathetic, this soft, nice tone, no matter how hot heavy the person comes with a thunderous voice or sharp soprano attacking, but there's that point where you just say, I hear you. I hear you, Belinda. I know you're not happy right now, but listen, I want to do something beyond what we've done. I know this could have hurt you, but let me just investigate. I want to investigate. I'm going to call you back at least within 10 minutes. Is that okay with you? That empathy and that tone is enough to drive the person to, come down and say, okay, 10 minutes. They will maintain okay, 10 minutes. But inside them, they're like, well, this person was a bit calm. After those 10 minutes, when you return that call and be like, hello, Belinda, thank you for waiting for us. I called you because I investigated and discovered we made a mistake, and I'm really sorry. That point of it will be like, I knew. So you see, so the person will get into more conversation with you, but then you know what? You have purged their emotions. You have purged into their thought process. You have purged into their feelings. You have purged into repairing what should have been broken at that point. So you are actually at the point of repairing. So empathy repairs so many things. Empathy gives you, it makes a customer feel get that very good customer experience, and of course it help goes beyond just solving just problems, but it also makes every client or customer that you work with to feel very valued and respected. So that respect goes a long way in this person being more of a referral. They will speak and say, I know if those guys, no, 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 those guys are good people. I had a problem, they addressed it in 10 minutes, they called me back, they apologized. Uh, I mean, if it's beyond what you thought, maybe they took me on a spa date or something, just those small incentives that, bring them back. Politeness and respect. Again, these are all these things are more like an envelope of one. But again, we have to break them down so you can understand them better. Always be polite. You never know who it is. Just be polite. There's a story that was told about an old man who had, if you remember, the no problem bag. He entered one of the car dealerships, famous car dealerships here in Kampala. He entered in, he had a no problem bag. He didn't look He didn't look suave. He didn't look savvy. He just didn't look that guy. But when he got inside there, he kept looking at the cars. The sales manager told him, "Sir, this guy is very good, but without enthusiasm. So it didn't look like this one can't buy from me." But eventually, after he had finished explaining the car, the old man said, "Okay, you give it to me now." Salesman was shocked, could not believe what was happening. But indeed, the old man said, "I need it now." Interestingly, the dealership didn't have that car. What was there was for showcase. And it wasn't at exactly zero mileage as he had been explained to. So when the salesperson realized how it was turning out to be something else, he now started, sir, please come have coffee this side. But you see, that politeness was not exhibited at the beginning. Now, think about how the old man felt. Or if he was any other person who would probably take it very personal, he should have just walked out that day and let it go. So be very polite, be very respectful, no matter who comes to you, no matter how difficult the situation is, no matter where, just be polite. Welcome each and everyone the same way. The same way, whether he's in a suit, whether he's in sandals, just don't judge a book by the cover. So be very polite, exercise kindness and respect. Those are etiquettes that we need to learn how to grow a brand. Because if you are polite and respectful, there is always a higher chance that people will always come and say, "I want to speak to Belinda." Um, because Belinda has built that for your brand. Belinda has accentuated that brand through her politeness and her respect towards every other client that walks into the business. Moving on, of course, still to something closer to that is I always ask people that every time you have chosen to open um, a social media account on the different platforms that are available today, there are very many platforms that we have today. So every time you have gone that level, kindly at all times when you get a DM is the direct message. If you get an inbox message of the official account, yeah, um, just ensure first of all that as you're checking through the platform with engagements that are coming on a regular basis, also try to go through your direct messages, your inbox. Ensure and acknowledge to your client that the message was delivered because most times these people send us messages, and all we are caring about is probably just on the main timeline engagement, and not just the online, the main online timeline. We're also just thinking of other things. Have I posted? Chiwede, and go away. No, if you run the accounts or if you have a team of people that run accounts, kindly train them to regularly, oftenly check through their inboxes or the direct message tool and ensure that if anyone that has reached out to you for some of this work gets to you, ensure that you acknowledge that the message was delivered. That is a key thing for you. And even if you don't just acknowledge that we received, engage. That engagement will show that you are on top of things. And after you've engaged with the person, for whatever reason they are in your inbox, if it is something to do with your brand, it's something to do with you as the brand, please follow up and say, for example, if it is somebody requesting for a service, say, okay, this is this. So if it takes 1 or 2 days without them getting back to you, follow up and say, hello. This is Sean. Please always identify whoever is typing at that moment because that also again creates a personalized way of sending messages to the person. Hello, this is Sean. On Tuesday you came to us. This. I'm just following up. Did you get the service or do you want us to engage further? That is the way of allowing the customers or clients to reach back to you. And you see that follow up is very good, but also every time that people go through the inboxes and they check and their messages are seen or read, that is a very key thing, very big thing. It's something that soothes whoever has sent you a message. They believe, oh, these people actually respond to us generously. So that is basically what they do. um But part of things that build, especially for a personal brand, but not just a personal brand, even if it's an organization, be extremely very mindful about your body language. Now, oftentimes we give away so many things with our body language. I'm going to give you a small sample. Right now, you can see me. What if my camera was off? Yeah, I would probably be speaking while, making a cup of tea or walking around, because I mean, I have my headphones. Yeah, I can do everything. But let's look at it in a point, first of all. First one is, let's look at it in a point of face to face. What is your body language going to be like? You have met Belinda. It is probably your first time with Belinda. Belinda is your client who has come to see you. How are you going to speak to Belinda? Now, a friend of mine asked me one time, "Do you ever get angry?" I said, "Why are you asking?" He says, "You're always smiling." I said, "Man, I think it's always nice to smile to people. A smile attracts you to anyone, whatever time it is. Your smile, or if somebody comes in, walk to the person and say, 'Hello, my name is Sean Oseku. Welcome to Enterprise Uganda. How can I be of help today?'" That is a way of a person just saying, "These guys are really welcoming. These guys are really cool." And then imagine at that level of the cool and everything, they get to you and say, "Well, I'm here. I want to know what the BDS is." "Oh, you mean our business? Oh, the BDS is this, this, this." So now every time you speak to the person and you're saying, "Well, this is what BDS is and all that. But I know Ronald Mukasa who works with me. Man, that guy knows stuff about BDS. Can I just walk you in and then you have an engagement with them?" Now, that's a referral from you. That's already an experience for the person. With the body language, with the way you welcome them, with the way you're treating them, you're walking them in, you're not having barriers of like, you can't see Ronald Mukasa about this. That already is something that is very key. But also, when they speak to Ronald Mukasa, they might have Ronald Mukasa now at his office, seated with his laptop in front of him. And the person comes in and is like, probably now Sean is like, "Hey, Ronald, I have somebody who wants to know about BDS. Do you have a minute or two?" He says, "Oh, yes, I do have a minute or two." "Yeah, okay, please." Person sits, gets into the chair, and when the person has sat, Ronald continues on his laptop. "Yes, how can I help you?" And he's looking at his laptop. That is rude. That is rude. That's bad body language. Put your laptop aside and say, "Hi, good morning. My name is Ronald Mukasa. My colleague Sean has told me you want to learn about the BDS." And that point about, "Yes, I want to know what it is and how can I engage?" "Well, BDS is this." That allows the person to actually experience you, allows the person to experience the brand. You at that point are the brand, and you are helping that brand be recognized, be valuable, be a brand that is loved by everyone. So that is something that creates a lasting impression to your client or whoever it is, um, for the next 5 minutes that you give them to explain about BDS, and that is something that is key to them. So be very mindful about your body language. Let your body speak impact. Be very impactful to whoever you meet. Be impactful to people you speak to. Be impactful to people that you engage with, from all walks of life. Yeah. Um, if you are talking to someone, for example, you now are the business owner, or you are actually representing that business at that point, please do not cross your arms and say, "Yes, you're saying." This. I hope all of you can see and say, "Yes, you're saying." While it looks cool to some people, it is rude. Do not cross your arms. Uh, if you really want to engage with someone at that point, this is a much more, if you're listening to them, say, "Yes, hello, how are you?" This body language allows you, but crossing arms is a bit rude. Um, we are shy. We are not all the same as we're supposed to be. But again, you need to take your shyness into the closet and speak to people. Do not look away frequently when speaking to them. Exercise, learn how to do it in the best way you can. And then, of course, the distractions that I was talking about, your laptop is in front of you and you continue. Yes, yes, BDS is, and you're typing. No, that is a bit, very, not a bit, it is very rude. So spare 5 minutes, 5 minutes, speak to that person. That will, it will, you may not know what you have done, but you will see it with the impact of so many things coming back to you. I just want to run through a couple of them now so that we utilize our few minutes that we have left with us here. Um, I want to jump to something to do about emails. Many of us reply emails. Many of us engage on email. Many of us do this. But first things first, do you realize there are people who write emails and as long as they put your email address and the rest, they will just, go straight to whatever they want to say. Sometimes it comes off rude. Sometimes. And if it's a first conversation with a different person, again, it is rude. So rudeness is not all the time when somebody has shouted at you. Rudeness is also an impact you feel, especially when you receive an email. You've seen people saying, "I saw this email," and then there's a joke that is done in the marketing class where they deduce and say that this email actually had a middle finger to you. So if you want to avoid those scenarios where somebody perceives that you sent it like that, I mean, put a proper subject line, what you're trying to communicate, because that is something that is very key. Personalize it. Now, if you're going to write to Belinda, say, "Hello, Belinda, how are you? I hope that you're doing well. I am writing to you, blah, 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 blah." That allows Belinda to receive. Of course, some people believe that you need to just say, "Dear Belinda," and it's true you need to say "Dear Belinda" because you barely know Belinda. But if you know Belinda to a certain level, or you've had some engagements within that time, that's the time you can say, "Hello, Belinda." But if you have no idea who Belinda is, please say "Dear Belinda." An endearment is good, but it depends on how professional you be with it. Um, um, if you're writing, people run to write an essay in an email. Please avoid essays. Our attention span in reading most emails is very short, the same way we don't concentrate on so many other things. We move on very quickly. So be very concise and clear. Get to the point of why you are saying it. And in your communication, let it be so succinct that the person can understand that in that conciseness and clarity, you're very clear that they know everything. Um, Proofread. Be Go through before your email goes out. Read it aloud to yourself. Actually, the best way to write the email is read it to yourself. "Dear Belinda, I am writing to you." Your tone alone will help you feel like I have written a right message, as opposed to just "Dear Belinda." Now, they've said you send me. No, "Dear Belinda, hi, I hope you're doing very well. Um, Kindly share." Of course, the arm is not there, but I'm saying, kindly share with me. That kindly, Belinda feels like is kind. You know, uh, would you be kind enough to share with me the BDS strategy? Would you be? That is a way of helping, but also proofread for your English, please. Um, your grammar is very important. How somebody reads your grammar sometimes is we will tell if they really want to continue interacting with you or not. And if you're not sure of it and you know it's not very sensitive, have a friend look at it. A second look is not bad to go through your email. Maybe somebody can correct a couple of things that you have there. And of course, timeliness, always respond promptly to emails, especially inquiries from your customers. And this just goes away to show responsiveness of how you and the brand are to that person. And then one of the other things that I looked out for is maintaining transparency and trust. Just be honest every time you are doing some work with, excuse me, with people. If it's something to do with your business practices, just be open. Tell them, "Oh, you know what? We had a delay here, but we are ensuring that you get it on time." I remember sometime in 2018, we designed the first, and it's the way that people are using to buy motor third party today. So we created a brand called Motorsure. Motorsure, our brand promise was, "We deliver to you your motor third party sticker within 1 hour anywhere in Kampala." We were trying to avoid people from going to fuel stations or driving, or even when they're forgotten. So we were transparent and said, "Hey, this is what we do." And if one of our delivery people delayed, we would ask them, please inform us, or please call the clients and say, hello, I am supposed to reach you within this time. However, my motorcycle or my bike is down. Would you please be kind enough to wait for me? And that's another way of doing it. Um, every time you do your work in your transparency, and building trust for your brand, make sure that whatever you do, let your quality be very consistent, because this again aligns with the promises that you give to the client. And then it goes back to the values of why you started that service or that organization and stuff. And then, of course, again, in the values, customers normally, if they look at your values, what are your values? Is it authenticity? Is it is it consistency? Is it effectiveness? Is it efficiency? Is it excellence? If they look through those things and those things actually resonate with the way you do work, those things are very important. So maintain transparency and trust. And of course, something I thought I should bring in a little bit here to support you in etiquette, in how your etiquette can be. Now, every time I know many of us engage with social media and the rest, I just wanted to say this, that storytelling is a very powerful tool today. Storytelling is a tool that people use in every way. But how do you storytell? How do you storytell? Now, first things first, be very authentic. Let your story be authentic. Yeah, let your story be authentic. Let it be something that they can resonate with for so many years to come. That if people keep remembering and say, "What do you remember about? Oh, those guys, they did this and this." So it's authenticity is about the work you do. You're not picking somebody else's work to be in your story, but or you're not picking other post services. You've seen, especially for the food makers and all that, where they pick online pictures and use. No, if it is your cut, if your camera is not good, you hire Belinda. Tell Belinda, Belinda, bambi dyangu nkubireko ekifaananyi nteeke wali kirabike bulungi. And if you Belinda can help you, Belinda will probably say, okay, okimanyi kankube ekifaananyi naye bw'oba obadde ogenda kuteekayo ku mukutu tuteekeyo tukole bwe tuti. For those who don't understand Luganda is, but if you wanted this picture to be put up on your one of your social media handles, I thought maybe you could do so. That is, ask for where you can, and you know that this will help you have it. And then also tell real life stories. Why do we want to tell real life stories? Real life stories have a lot of impact. Real life stories have a lot of emotional purging. Real life stories have things, and let me tell you, emotional things. Um, uh, uh, d- it doesn't matter whichever way you've created that emotional thing. It is something that actually purges into emotions, and emotions are very key in allowing people to associate and be relevant with you. And then I also just wanted to ask most of you that invest in content marketing. If you're going to do work, if you're going to go through social media and all that, with digital media, and you want to educate somebody on in what I mean, the work you do, whatever you do, kindly invest in some of the things like videos. This help also brands grow, but it's also an etiquette as you do videos. I just wanted to bring this out. How in your video are you aware of how you can create risk to certain people, for example, children? So if you're going to do a video, you because children are vulnerable groups. Differently able people are vulnerable groups. How do you use them in your storytelling? How do you portray them? If you know that your brand cannot deal with that, don't use it, especially with children. If you know your brand can't deal with that, because there's going to be a huge repercussion. The feedback you get, it doesn't matter whatever it is, it will hit you. If it's child rights activists, they'll come for you. If it's the differently abled rights, or people like say disability rights activists, they will come for you. So as you do this, again, goes back to authenticity. Be very clear of some of the things you do. My final tips and takeaways. Of course, I know that I have actually just scratched the surface for you. I could even have more engagement with you. I don't know. We could have this maybe another series sometime with Belinda. But as I scratch the surface and finalize with you guys, I just wanted to say that every time you are dealing with etiquette, be consistent with the etiquettes that you have set out. Things that we've talked about from the beginning. Your tone. Be very consistent with your tone. Um, Apart from your tone, be very consistent with your actions, be consistent with your engagement on social media. That consistency helps you. So practice makes perfect. So just be that person that goes away with that, and through the same way develop effective digital media communication. Don't just engage for the likes, engage for impact. Please always engage for impact. Impact is very key than likes. Likes are easily forgettable, but with the impact, you stay in somebody's mind or on top of their mind or wherever it is on their mind that they will be. So engage for impact. Have a strategy of how you want to do your content. Yes, the likes again are very key for so many people look at, but those are just small aesthetics. But if you have a strategy on how your work goes and how you want to impact, that should be some of the things you look out for. And every time you do your work, or every time you are meeting people, whether you are an individual, whether it's your small enterprise of 5 3 people, whether you are medium size of 20 or 50, please ensure that your identity as that brand, an individual or a small enterprise or medium, just have a visual identity. Let people know that every time they see you, I I mean, look at Belinda today. I'm certain that some people do not even know that she's called Belinda Namtevi, but they know Undava. I'm sure most of you may not even realize that you listened to her way back on Sanyu FM, and she's like, "Hi, my name is Belinda, and if you want to listen to a song, call out to this on zero." So it's Undava that is there. So create that visual identity, please. Yeah, and then invest in your brand identity again. And for me, I always say, even if you are an individual, even if you're a small one, a small enterprise or medium size, have a really super logo. Yeah, let your design speak out. Let it, at any one time it's seen somewhere, someone just identify. Look at Coca-Cola. You don't have to do a lot not to know Coca-Cola, but that does not stop Coca-Cola today from advertising. Yeah. So have a memorable logo. Let it be something that quickly, top of mind, somebody can get it. Again, if you are again an individual also, but also even a small, please have branding guidelines. These support you in a way of again identifying or making your brand identity super. Have a letterhead, have some teardrops, have let have somebody to create for you. If you don't know what they are, we could have another conversation of that. And then invest in websites, but not just a website. Invest in an appealing website. Invest in a website that has very good content, regularly updated, but not just that. Invest in a website that is actually very user friendly, and not just user friendly again. Invest in a website that can that is seamless on either your laptop or phone, and is not very heavy for people to consume when they want to reach out to you or see what you do or see a catalog of your work and what you do and all that. And then finally, again, seek feedback at any one time. Do not, as a way of whenever you speak to people, please engage back later to seek feedback. Or even when they're speaking to you at that point, no matter what the feedback is, it could be rude at that time, it could be annoying, it could be painful. We are all human with red blood flowing in our bodies. But be professional. Wear your professional cap. That will be very good for you, and not be personal and say, if somebody says, Kabrandi ko sikagala, and then you're like, nange sikwagala. No. Kabran ko sikagala. That's okay. Go into their DM. Hi, my name is. So I really am sorry that this has bothered you. Is it okay if you share with me why you don't like? If they open up, that's a channel for you to actually bring them back on board. I keep telling people reflect on the performance of what you do, especially with your etiquette. Have at the end of it all, whatever you do, maybe quarterly, maybe monthly, depending on how you want to do your way. Just check on the performance of how you did. For example, if it was customer service in your, just check and see how many did we reach out to, what was their feedback, get feedback from people from that way, and also if you're having again different communication, whether email, whether social media, whether face to face, there are always new techniques under the sun. If you feel like you've exhausted much, seek some professional help. Call Mr. Sean Oseku and say, man, I'm stuck. We've done this for a while. This is what we've been doing. What other new technique? I go face to face. I meet people. I say, no, where do you meet them from? I mean, if your budgets are good, I say, okay, fine. How about give them an experience? Take them to CJs. Let them. So those are new techniques and all that. Then, of course, your personal set personal goals. Personal goals are not necessarily you as a person alone, but also for your entity. They are personal to you. They are so personal to you. Those are some of the things you look out for. So I believe that would be the scratch that I've said that is a scratch to the surface of uh, of today's engagement. I wish we had a lot of time. I would. Somebody said Nimusomesa. I would have actually taken us on a longer journey. I would taken you on. Would have taken you through an experience. Belinda definitely knows what experiences we're talking about. Would go through an experience so that we know much more of this. Thank you so much. My name is Sean Oseku. I do support different organizations, different individuals through communications and public relations. Thank you. Belinda, over back to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Sean. What a ride. What a beautiful ride. And as well, while I was listening to your presentation, I just figured that the whole essence of etiquette in communication is for us to be good people. You're
Yeah.
telling us to be kind, to be respectful, to be polite, to be in good character, and to have a good tone. Okay, so
Yeah.
just be good people.
Absolutely.
Be good people, be mindful about your environment. While you are presenting, I recall the scenario that happened on Twitter, X, what is now called X, a couple of weeks ago, where MTN had released an advert.
Yeah.
They filmed this advert of guys dancing, okay? They were
Mm,
just dancing, but the way they were dancing was not very appropriate. So now this is big fat MTN, you know, this is big fat
yes.
MTN. They released the advert, and before they knew it, all the kids in the neighborhood were dancing like the men in the advert.
Mm,
And it was just not nice. So it
yes.
took one person to call out MTN and say, you can do better. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I am happy to report that the MD Sylvia actually met this gentleman and the ad was pulled back. They took it off and they had
Mm,
to do another ad. So what does that show us? That as people, as business people, or as brand people, we have to be mindful about even just the culture. When you talked about children being used in adverts and old people, there is a respect we have even in our tribes. There are things we don't do. We don't talk back to elders. We don't shout. We don't use abusive language. That is all etiquette of communication. And how do we bring it back to our businesses? I like that when you go in the shops in Kampala. No. Actually, my first example was the taxi drivers.
mm.
When you are waiting for a taxi, oh, you're the most important person. Madam, ogenda wa. Or if you will even cross the road to come
Mm.
and
And
pick
pick
me.
you.
But
Yes.
once you sit in the taxi, the
Mm-hmm.
situation changes. Or when you go downtown, you have all these women saying, customer wango mulunji. So what I'm saying, Sean, is that we know what we need to do, But
Mm,
sometimes things do not go as planned. So
mm,
before I open up the questions, I would like you to, this question is, you're going to help us. What do I need to do as an entrepreneur to make sure that every time I'm communicating, I'm polite, I'm respectful, I am in good character? Because now, what do I do to make sure I keep this etiquette? Because what I need to know is what I'll pass on to my employees. So, what do I need to do to make sure I'm polite? Because we all want to be polite, but life happens. Sometimes a customer calls you when URA has just been on the line
mm.
and you're not in good character, but you have to take the call. So, can you guide us on what we need to do to make sure that we preserve this character that faces our customers? Because we need their money. The businesses
Yes,
need to grow. But what
absolutely.
do I need to do maybe every day to make sure that every time I'm facing with a customer, I am in good character to do business? That is my question. And then we'll open up the question to everyone else who is on the call. We have 30 minutes with Sean. Let's use the time that we have. He's a consultant. In another world, you'll be paying lots of money, but we have him for 30 minutes. So that's my first question. Let's attend to that, and then we'll pick others.
Thank you, Belinda. Now, the perfect examples you have given is a taxi. They will stop and say, Mama Ogenda, and cross the road and pick you. That's the same way we as business owners or we as people who offer services. Uh, the question is, how do you retain that customer now that they're in your car? How are you going to be nice to them? How are you going to be kind to them? What experience are you going to give them? Now, again, it goes back to just simple things. Your kindness, be kind, exercise all those things because these are human traits that we have. These are things we can adopt. If you have been the kind of person who is you do not care, I think that's a bad attitude. So your attitudes have to change at the beginning, the same way you onboarded that customer, for example, as a taxi conductor, is the same way you're supposed to treat them when they get into your car. How do you keep them? Now that's what we say, that you need to speak to them and ask for feedback. Sebo otudde mu mmotoka gye baleko, owulira otya oba otudde entebe si nnungi. Bambi tusonyiwe. Tugenda kulaba nti tukyusaamuko. Ate mulimu emmotoka ekubagana yonna, bambi tugenda tujja kulongoosamu tuteekemu shock absorbers. That again goes back to from the beginning the conversation I've been having. Be kind, be straightforward to the person, but engage at all times. Engage. Now, I wanted to give another example. Like I said, Belinda, for the benefit of the others who probably have not been on radio, me and you know that when we go on air, we are actually in character. What does that mean? It means that I have chosen to be a presenter for the next 4 hours. I do not know who is calling, who's going to call. I do not know what kind of music they want, but I have selected the music. Yeah, I have selected, so I know that this would appeal to them. Well, many may not have those appealing things, but how do I keep them? Now it's probably my voice that is going to engage them and say, as you are listening, this song goes out to you, Derek, who's listening in from Nakasero. Well, you wanted to listen to this beautiful song, but next I'm gonna play. It's coming in from, so it comes in from somebody from Katanga. So these are different walks of life. That's what. When a comedian is on stage, they are extremely funny. You know they are in character. Yeah. When an actor goes to act a film, they will show you what they have to do. Yeah, because they have to entertain you, they have to ensure that you appreciate. Do you get it? So for you as an owner of a business or whatever it is, once you get to your business, once you open the lines for your business, if it's an 8 to 5, or if it's, please put all the other characters that you have inside the closet where your character of the business come and speak to your clients the way they expect. They don't expect less. They don't expect you to be, whether you had a bad day, you quarreled with your wife or whatever it is, or you quarreled with your husband, or you fought with whoever it is. please, at that point, you have a job to do, to execute. That job is what brings food to your table, the money that we are talking about. So it doesn't matter where you, if you are struggling at that level, I always say that seek some help. If you can't handle, get somebody to train you. Call Sean, call Berlin and say, hey, I'm struggling. Every time I'm speaking to customers, this is what happened. I mean, as a professional, I will guide you and say, do you want to change the way you talk to them? Where are your character? Know that as design company, because I do run a company with a friend called, it's called as design. How do we want people to experience us? So the way you want people to experience you is you have to get into character, create that character, mold that character. Movies are not made out of the blue. They are molded, they are made. There's somebody writing, there's somebody refining. There's so refine, mold, refine, and keep it that way. So if
Sorry, we lost you for the last 1 minute.
oh sorry, I apologize for that. I think I'm back now.
Yes, you're back.
Yes, I was saying that movies are made. There's a process that goes into making a movie. There's a process that goes into preparing to go on stage to speak. Even just speaking, we don't just come and say, "I know my stuff. I'm going to speak." I mean, even if all sorts of these questions. So
Mm.
every time that you are going to do that, let it be like you are creating a movie. Dream of something that you want the client to experience, and it should be memorable to them. It should be an experience that will be unforgettable for them, that when they talk to you and engage with you, they know, ah man. And let it be an experience where they want to call you, even if at some point it's not. They might even call you when it's not work. Be like, hello, can I speak to Sean? Yes, please. Just hold on a minute. And then gets to Sean. Hello, Sean. Hey, hello, how are you? How are you doing? Yes, this is not a business related call. I just thought that is an impression you've created beyond that. They might want to engage you now on a because you have made them feel a certain way that they. I've spoken to people and then eventually they ask me, "Are you a counselor or therapist?" I'm like, "No, I honestly do not even know what that is." And you see, because of the way we speak to them, so at any on time, create that, I would say, character, because it envelops everything. Create, be in character every time you're speaking to people. Do not use your personal side to deviate you from the professional side. The only time you actually engage a personal side to everything should be at a level of empathy, because empathy is personal. Yeah. So be in character, be empathetic, just be in character. Just know Belinda is going to call, or so and so is going to call. There's a guy from Mutundwe who is going to call. There's a guy from Kololo who is going to call. There's all those people. Be in character to speak to them the same way. And that experience is what they're looking for.
Okay, great. So I hear when you say being character, what I hear is that when we get into the workplace or when we are in our business, we are on a show. Yeah, we are we are acting out something. Okay, it is business. So we cannot afford to be casual or very simplistic. As far as customers are concerned, customers are the ones that make us money and they are the ones that help us grow our brands. We are going to have a situation of a difficult client. And if you don't mind, Sean, we will do uh, 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 um, we will
Bring it
act
on.
it out. I'll try to be very difficult on you.
Bring it
Just
on. Bring it on.
can handle it. But
Yeah.
before that,
Mm.
and that is to answer Norbert. I want to. I'm trying to say Robert's full name. I want to Okirol's question, and he sent me a direct message. I wonder what he's saying. Sean, in your presentation, you talked about distractions, and in communication, there are things we call noise. And noise is what stops messages from being delivered. Now, we have distractions. On Sunday, we had a health camp at church. So I was helping this old lady. This lady is blind. So
Yes.
she'd gone to see the doctor and they had written stuff for her on a piece of paper. Please note she can't read. Okay. So so she left the place where the health camp was taking place. Now, when I found her, she had the piece of paper and she asked me to get medicine. So I went back. Now, when I went to pick the medicine, I'm engaging the pharmacist. She gets a phone call and she leaves me there.
Oh.
So I'm asking myself, if we were in a hospital and I am having this moment with my doctor, that whole transactions, because even in hospitals we are doing business.
Yes.
That very critical moment, the doctor is giving me medicine, or the pharmacist is giving me medicine that is supposed to make me better and probably help me build a good image about this hospital. But in the midst of telling me, this is your mabendazole, it's a deworming dose. You take it first thing in the morning before you take now you are trying to explain that to me, you get a phone call and then you leave me there.
Yes.
Now we have a problem. There's another video I saw last week of two army guys. They are supposed to be security guys. One of them was on the phone outside the property. I think they were on TikTok. Do you know how to tell when someone is on TikTok?
Yes. The scrolling, the
Eh,
up and forward. Yes.
Exactly. They must have been on TikTok. So in the
Yes.
moment of him being on TikTok, a boda guy comes and snatches their phone.
Mm,
A boda guy snatches a security operative's phone.
mm,
What does that mean? The security operative is at work, but they are distracted by social media. We've entered shops where maybe there were no customers, you get in, but the shop attendant is not really attending to you. They want you
mm,
to finish your inquiry so they can go back to their phone. Or maybe we had an experience here in the chat where someone said they entered a bank and everybody was greeting this banking officer, but she was, like you said, she was
mm,
busy typing away on her phone, not giving the eye contact that you told us about. I would like
mm,
you to talk to us about modern day disruptions that are going to cost us customers.
mm.
Okay? They're going to cost us customers. How do we, I mean, as business owners, do we tell people don't use your phones? No, we can't do that because most of the sales are happening on the phone. But what do we need to do to stop these distractions? Because they are killing the business. They're killing our time with our customers. We are not engaging enough with them. Can you talk about the distractions at work as far as communication with the customer is concerned?
So, first things first. Again, I would like to these with the scenarios that you've shared, but also not just the scenarios that you've shared. My intention here is, first of all, to put it, if you're running an entity, if you're running whether it's small, whether it's 3 people, whether it's 2 people, whether it is 10 people, whether it is 30 people, please continuously engage your teams, continuously train them. Capacity building is very key. If, for example, this is a very good example that I always want to use. The receptionists, many have looked at them as somebody said nobody's in quotes, but not necessarily that. The receptionist is the first face of the first human face of the organization or entity or business or wherever it is, or even if it's not just a receptionist, the salesperson in front of the shop is that face of that shop. Now, you have employed a person because they've given you some good credentials and stuff like that. No, that it doesn't stop there. You have to train them. You have to teach them. You have to inculcate or impart into them what your brand is about, what your customer experience should look like, what you how you should engage with different clients. Yeah. Now, this face-to-face kind of engagement is something I always like. Again, I just want to wind you back to 2018, 2017, and 18. Um, I ran a customer a call center, and in the call center I had different girls, but I took time to train them. I took time to train them. I actually, well, I knew what to tell them and how to do it, but I even had with the help of the management, we even hired a professional and said, please come and engage these people, and because a different experience from another professional enables them to see from another perspective, but how all in all those perspectives they can be married together so you can have or give the different clients a good experience. So please train. Don't assume because you have got them. Please train. Please train. Even yourself, you need to continuously train yourself. The other bit is of course reading, but most importantly, please train. If you have spoken too much to these people, probably they're used to you. You are not changing any other way. Get somebody fresh, get somebody new, get somebody with more experience, get somebody who has run this place, this race, to have conversations with them. Let this person assess them in a way that helps them to renew. The truth is that even us, when we do our work, even us as communicators, we have the things almost at our fingertips like this, but we go back and read more. Yeah. I mean, I can go and boast and say I have my 17 years experience or something like that in the space, but there is a boy who is doing 2 years and he's thorough in whatever he's doing. Do you get it? So I need to train more to understand probably the new trends or what are the new ways of how to do business and stuff like that. So for you to create a memorable experience, let train your front people to understand what the brand means, what the brand values are. If it's empathy, like I said, it could be excellence, it could be empathy, it could be audacity. It's just about what the values are, but train them away from just training them. Train them on several things: body language, speech, on what to say and what not to say. If they're challenged at that point and they know they don't have much information, how do they answer that person, or how do they help that person to actually return or get the rightful information? They can actually say, look, and it's good to be honest. Some most of the times, look, I this is. As far as I know, this is where I stop. But let me call one of my colleagues, Belinda. She is more superior than me. She's been more experienced. She will actually take you on a journey. Would you mind that? The person will be like, oh, that would be okay, please. So when I call Belinda and Belinda comes like, oh, hi, how are you doing? That already is enough to just make the person, hey, Belinda, you get up, Lunji. Oh, so please come in and have a seat with me. And then, but please train. Please, at every one time, train. Um, um, Again, professionalism goes back to a bit of, let me talk about a bit of professionalism. Um, to your remember the video you mentioned about the security person who was on their phone. Now, ideally, that man could have shot the border guy. I mean, he had a big gun. He's a soldier. We are scared of them. We know he can do it. But do you realize how professional he was? It was just a small phone. He said, you know how they say Mungu yamanyi, something like that. So he let it go, but he could have shot him. So again, how do you react back to when somebody has used an abusive language to you as a front person or somebody face to face? Or Belinda Rimufunyo and all that, we interact with all these kind of people. Do you also say, nah, way, no, be like, well, I'm sorry you experienced it that way. How can I make you better? Do you get it? I'm sorry you experienced it. And that, whether you, let me tell you people, there's something about our own emotions. No matter how rude you are, the moment you meet somebody who just calms down and says, you abusing for them, they're calm. You yourself, you'll feel ashamed if you're very rude. That customer will feel that way. And if they stay, they will. tone down and engage. If they go, they will also realize how bad they were. But you never know who could be seeing. If that customer was rude and maybe another person was waiting in line and they saw how polite you are, you have won that other person who watched, because they know that, like, oh, these people Bambi, msaji ya move, ma. And then you see those are people who defend you in, say, online. You see when people say, I would like to name and shame Ondaba, the person like, I experienced Ondaba in a different way, or I saw the way you reacted to Belinda when she was talking. So those are things. But train, be as polite as you can. Again, train, train, be consistent with your training, train them to have the consistency that you want on the way customers should experience you and the brand. That's what you need to do.
Great. I like what you said, that other customers are watching. Sometimes we forget. We forget when pregnant women come to our shops and we make them wait, or the elderly, or people who are blind. We make them go through the same process like the able-bodied people. And yet, if we show empathy, we have a moment to connect with customers at that point.
Yes.
Yeah, so what I hear you saying is that even when you have an issue with a customer in the shop, other customers are watching how you are
Yes.
treating them. Now,
Yes.
lately, that shop scenario is being transferred onto social media. If I
Yes.
wrote about your brand and said, I paid my money and you didn't deliver, the way you respond to me and how you show what steps you're taking to make sure that the service is delivered well, other customers are watching or reading how the whole interaction is taking place, and you're either building your brand or you are not. Okay.
Yes.
We have a
Yes.
comment here from Adam Wonge about Mulago Hospital. My uncle had been referred to the radiology department for a scan. An operator is searching for a vein to put in the IV syringe while casually chatting on the phone with a friend. I couldn't confront the gentleman for fear of, okay, his attitude was horrible. Or the uncle passed away the next day. I'm so sorry to hear that. So what we are saying, Sean, what I hear us saying is that we need to be better. And I like where you have put us to say we be in character. If you're a healthcare worker in a hospital, the person in front of you is the most important person. You need to
Yes.
save their life. You need to listen to them. So I would like us to have that scene so that we can see how to respond. You could be here sounding very good as you're telling, but you've
Bring it
not
on,
met a
Belinda.
difficult customer. You haven't
Bring
met
it
a
on.
difficult
Yes.
customer. So let us
Yes.
see how far you go, okay?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna
Yes.
make a phone call. Ring, ring. So yeah, pick up.
Hello.
Yes, is this Sean Associates?
Yes, this is Sean Associates. You're speaking to Sean Oseku himself. How can I help you
Oh,
today?
you're the owner of this business?
Yes, please.
When did this business open?
We opened about 2012. We've been in business for about 12 years now.
You've
And
been uh-huh.
yes, and we've been really serving our customers well. I realized, are you okay? Is there something wrong I should help address for you from the way you're speaking?
You have been in business for 12 years, but you don't know how to keep your promises?
Would you mind
12 years
explaining
is
to
a
me
long
what happened?
time.
Would you mind
So
explaining to me? Before I actually ask you to explain, may I know who I'm speaking to?
my name is Belinda.
Oh, Belinda.
Called your business
Um,
a month
yes,
ago, and I
yes,
ordered for goods and even made a payment. I
yes, please.
spoke to Sarah and explained what I needed to be done and where my stuff needed to be delivered. It is
Yes.
4 weeks and my stuff hasn't been delivered and nobody has called me. What's wrong with you people?
Belinda, when did you make this transaction?
You're not even listening to what I'm saying. I told you,
I did.
I told you
Yes,
a
please.
month ago.
Yes, please.
Yes,
So
so
no,
what is happening?
A month ago. Do you have a precise date so that I can follow up? Because this has never happened with us. It's the first time actually somebody is calling, and interesting that you reached out to me directly, and I would like to really help you because it's not the way we do business. I really don't like my clients having bad experiences. I would really want to make this up to you. So if you don't mind, please kindly tell me the exact date if you remember. But if you don't remember, I'm still going to go back and try to find out what happened with it. So, do you remember the particular day?
It was 14th October and it was my birthday. You ruined my birthday.
I'm so sorry, Belinda. So, do you mind giving me more details so that I can follow up this issue, please? I really
But I've
want to give
already
you.
told you, you're not listening. You're just like your staff. I told you a month ago, I called, ordered for stuff, paid for it, but a month later, you have not delivered my items. What is happening?
Belinda, may I know the stuff that you actually ordered for?
What else do you sell in your shop?
We have variety of stuff. We sell heavy duty equipment. We sell also, we have two different sections of our business. One, it deals with the financial services where we offer some of the things that like financial services. And on the other side, we have more of where the agriculture side where we do inputs, heavy duty stuff. So I would like to just know what particularly you ordered for so that I can follow this up very well.
I ordered for hard hats for my people.
Hard.
Month later,
Okay.
they've not been delivered and I paid. What is happening?
Okay, Belinda, I just want to say I'm sorry again. I really apologize. Let me, I no, I was going to ask for your number. I can see it here on my screen. Would you want to give me about 5 to 10 minutes so I can get back to you, if you don't mind? Is
Thank you
that
very
okay
much.
with you, Belinda?
That's very okay. I'll wait for your phone call.
Thank you for being so patient and kind. I'm definitely going to reach back to you. I promise you this.
Okay, there we had a situation while we wait for Sean's screen to unfreeze. We had a situation for a difficult client, and I think we saw how Sean was trying to contain it. He was in character, like he has been telling us. We need to be in character to ask for information and be committed to solving the challenges that customers are facing. So it's 4 minutes to the end. It's 4 minutes to the end of the business recovery series. Sean's screen is still frozen. One of us requested that Sean posts his contacts, and I'm going to ask him to do that. But we have Jackie Namaswe in the chat who is saying, speaking of which, Sean, what can you say about attaching endearments like dear, Mokwano, honey to clients as we interact with them? I think he spoke about this at the start. We need to be careful about the endearments. If you do not know someone very well, you can't be calling them Mokwano, honey. You can just say Mr. So-and-so or dear sir or Miss so and so, something like that. Let's be very careful about the endearments. What advice do you have when a relative threatens to stop selling your products because you ask them to pay for those they took before? I have not replied them yet. Usually I get silent to rude people. Sometimes I block them because I cannot manage. Kelly Taremwa, thank you for that message. The relative is a customer. Yes, but then there's also a line, there's a thin line of they are also family, but most importantly, they are customers, and we need to treat them as such, be in character, like Sean has said. We should not block customers until we have resolved their issue, and we should not get rude. In my past, I hope I didn't freeze out the presenter. Sean could be trying to get back, but we will wait for him to get back so that he can close this session. Yes, Mr. Kelly Tarema, a relative is a customer, and we have to treat them as such. So we can't block them, we can't be rude to them, and we can't be silent. We always have to have something to say. Adam Wonge, someone help me with how I should communicate my feelings to Dr. Agaba without going overboard. Oh, okay. So this is Adam Wonge about the situation. you had at Mulago Hospital. Yes, so Mr. Adam Wonge, I think you'll get Mr. Agaba's contact. I'm sure you can find it. You give him a call and say, I would like to give you feedback about a situation that happened at the hospital. The doctor will listen to you, and I'm hoping that they'll get better at the way that they do their work. Erimu, Brian, your hand is raised. Okay, what is your question? We have a minute to go. Hello, Brian. Can you please unmute your mic and ask your question? Brian?
Warm greetings from Kaberamaido, Belinda.
Hello, how is Kaberamaido this morning, Brian?
We're well. We're well, still soldiering on.
Okay.
Thank you for everything and for Sean as well, bringing him over. I think it's been profounding an honor to me. I am a
Yes.
marketing lead with Kaga Millers,
Yes.
and equally, I am of vision impairment.
Okay.
That means I am blind. I'm blind, but I do my work with the mill.
Okay.
I've had such scenarios where I am unable to see the clients. Just as Sean said, you need to have also facial experience with clients, but I don't see them. Although I get feedback from clients saying that guy was looking at me like he's seeing me. So to me, I feel seeing is not just by sight, even by mind. You can
You're
still
right.
focus on the person and see them. But then I find myself in a situation where clients prefer to work with me more than my colleague, and I'm kind of stranded. I'm kind of confused on how to go about this. Can you guys guide?
Yeah, you brought an interesting perspective, Brian, about seeing is more than the sight. There's seeing with the heart, and or maybe seeing with the intention of the conversation, of the engagement. I really, really like that. Sean, are you back?
Yes, I am back. And please, sorry to everyone. I had a network interference, but I'm back.
I'm going to tease you about this one. I froze you out. I was not a very easy customer. Yes.
No, not really. I think the thunder that you sent over came with the network, so it decided to. But no, I'm back. I'm back. I'm really back, and I apologize to everyone for those few minutes that I was off.
Okay, so on your way back, we were speaking to Brian. Brian is in Kaberamaido. He's
Yeah.
visually impaired, but he's also a marketing person, and he meets a number of customers. So Brian is sharing and saying his customers say that he talks to them like he sees them. They feel seen, which is not the same for his other colleagues. So Brian is asking, what can he do to help his colleagues treat customers better? That will be your last response. You give a comment about the situation we had with the difficult customer, and then we'll close this call.
Yeah. Thank you, Belinda. First, I would get to Brian first. Brian Benyo, Yalama for getting to us here from Kaberamaido. So, Brian, this your scenario is quite an interesting one, and I like it so much. Why? Um, every time and for disability rights activists, we've had people say, please don't say they are disabled. No, they are differently abled. Brian, you're differently abled. You cannot see, but you might be having an aura that everyone likes. You might know how to speak to people. You might be very polite. You might be very welcoming. And those are some of the key things that invite people to speak to you. Remember when I said we experience people. For not necessarily that they have to see. No, because I'll give you another example of right now you cannot see me. Everyone cannot see me because my video is not on. But maybe paging into somebody who is listening to me and saying, "Oh, I'd really like to meet Sean." And then there could be another person say, "Ah, I don't want to meet Sean." So it's just an experience. How do you give people an experience? Brian, you're giving somebody a good experience. And from the way you asked your question, it says that when people, when your clients love to speak to you, they are comfortable with you. You exude an aura that invites them, or you have an inviting aura around them that they know if I speak to, and then maybe you're more knowledgeable. That's why the clients or customers want to speak to you, because the way you explain a product is much easier than maybe what your colleague does. Now, that is a good thing for you, Brian. Don't look at it as a problem. No, actually look at it as something. Be thankful. Be very grateful that everyone wants to speak to you. We all want people who speak to us, especially in marketing, in communications. We are happy to have somebody saying, I am looking out for Belinda. I need to speak to Belinda. If I don't speak to Belinda, Mbasi Chimaze, you get that kind of thing. For the benefit of Brian, is that I hope you understand some Luganda, yes. So, Brian,
Mm.
that's a very good thing for you. Hold it with two hands, take it in very with a lot of enthusiasm, with a lot of grace, and accept that you are the person that everyone wants to speak to. You don't necessarily have to see them. And like I said earlier on in the first, one of the first things that we, if it's face to face, look, speak directly while looking at them. Well, you may not be looking at them in its physical sense, yeah, but you may be looking at them through your soul. They actually feel like you are with them at that point. So that's what endears them to you. That's what endears them to speak to you. That's what is endearing to create the brand even bigger. They say, "Oh, there's a gentleman called Brian. Ah, man, he's good. He's thorough. When you ask about this, he explains." And let me just say something about every time. Do not speak jargons as another etiquette way of discussing business. Please avoid jargons. This is so common with people in a civic space, a civil society space, and all that, because they're used to even just the same way that we interact. There is no reason for you to say "I see in ICYMI" in case you missed it. No, you have to be open. Don't say, "Hey, by the way, just ICM." No, no, no. Say, "By the way, in case you missed it, this is what happened." That's, you've already explained it. If it is BDS, be like, for enterprise, Uganda deals a lot with that. Let enterprise always try to explain what BDS is in the simplest way. Every, say, acronym or every hard word has a synonym that is very simple. So Brian, if you're listening, and I know you're listening, is that you explain things simply. You try to give an experience that is different from what your colleague does. So, not to leave your colleague behind. Kindly handhold him, train him the best way you have, the way you do things. In that way, you have brought him closer to where you are. You actually will help him also advance himself to the different clients that you speak to. So don't feel like it's a problem, handhold him. If you feel like, get feedback from the different clients. Why don't they want to speak to him and they prefer you? And for every reason they give you, use it to support your colleague, because your colleague and yourself is a brand. You represent that brand. So don't leave him behind. I hope that answers you, Brian. But getting back to just before I went off, Belinda, before we actually go, I answer you. You were tough in this dialogue that we had. But from the way I answered, what did you feel like? Let me throw the Molotov tail back to you.
I felt like you are in character. You did not lose your mind. You tried to get information from me. You clearly did not have the information. If I was going to be a more difficult customer, I was going to ask you, how come a delivery has not been made in 2 weeks and you don't know about it? But anyway, yes, but you
Yes.
were in character, which has been the underlying theme for our discussion today, Sean. You are really
Mhm.
in character.
Thank
Yes.
you. Now,
Mm.
in that same way of character, I also want to help the guys who are online and listening, that these scenarios will happen to you, even if you stay in character. Like Belinda said, there's one question she didn't ask. That has come now. Should have said, "How can you not know?" And if the person say, "How can you not know?" Say, "Well, we have a department, or we have a section that runs this, and I do sit, I oversee everything, and I have so many of these coming through. But again, maintain the character and say, let me look through. In 5 to 10 minutes, I will be back to you. Now, I wanted to throw a scenario where it's not just Belinda. There are 10 people. So how do you say, is it still 5 to 10 minutes? The judgment is going to be yours. Yeah. The judgment is yours to understand what is the priority. Yeah. We create priority lists. Or if the person, what is the priority? What is big? Sieve. The judgment is yours. Sieve to know whose issue is bigger than the other. That will help you how to give a timely feedback of like, I need for Belinda 5 minutes. Should get back to her, and you're not the only one. If it's a team, you're not the only one. Engage the other colleagues to call and say this, and ensure that you are there. Yeah. If the fault is on you as a business, find ways to make it up. Find ways to make it up. Yeah, find ways to make it up. You've seen one time we ordered for a cake and they were given a cake that was not what we wanted. We wanted the rally car because we are rally enthusiasts. So we're given a cake which had Paw Patrol instead. Now we are adults. We're buying for a friend of ours. We complained and complained, but this owner of the bakery was very kind. She's like, "Look, I'm sorry my staff did not do a job. I'm really sorry." We said, no, but you see, we actually, now we are late. We gave you from the other day, it's about 3 days, and you're telling us it's like, can you give me another probably 20 to 15 minutes and I make sure I make another cake? Say, how will you do that cake? Like, please let me try. Yeah, give me this. Me who was with these other colleagues, I felt her pain. My colleagues did not want to know that. Let them retire now, man. I said, no, you guys, she has asked for some 15 minutes. She actually exceeded. She came back in 15 and said, I'm trying my best. Maybe if you feel you can come and see the experience and know what I'm doing. Now, for her to invite us to go and see her doing the work herself was comforting. And that is something very positive. So that again, by the time she gave us the cake, it was actually perfect in 30 minutes. That shows you that she's also employed people who may not be to her capacity level. Yeah. So again, you as a business owner, how do you support that way? Please apologize and handle because you're a professional at that point. Deal with it at that point. But character, stay in character. If you're dealing with people, stay in character. Yeah? Stay in character. That helps you to advance.
Okay, thank you so much, Sean. We are 11 minutes into, I mean, we should have ended 11 minutes ago, but I don't want to go without reading these comments from the chat. Dr. Kadama said we shouldn't say sorry more than twice because it irritates the customer. I agree with you, Dr. Kadama. Then we have, thanks a lot, we have been facing we fail to predict how a repeat customer will turn up that day. This is common to ladies since the clients for our services, okay, for our spices. Today she comes when she's okay. Tomorrow she comes when she's so mad. How do we deal with that? I think like Sean has said, as a team, we have to be in character. And you will know that customer, how they are on and off. So prepare for them. Okay, so Margaret, what do you do in case the business you are giving feedback on is defensive or asking why you delay to complain like a day or so, indicating that the staff also get tired? Stay in character. Stay in character. John, in the meantime, please share your contact, which
Yes,
must be
please.
the last slide on your presentation. Or
Absolutely.
asking for it here. Thank you, Dr. Christina Kadama, for listening. Everyone grateful for the presentation. Thank you for being here this morning. Thank you, Sean and Enterprise Uganda, for the enlightening conversation. Brian Eyimu, yes, very good to hear from you. Good luck with the grain milling work in Kavera Maido, and I hope you get to train your employees to handle the clients better. Susan Lugalambi is saying, Brian, they trust you and your presence gives them comfort. So they say you are seeing them, your spirits are aligned. Yes, I honestly like, I think that is a highlight of the presentation today. We can communicate with our clients with more than just the eyes. There are so many ways to communicate with
Our
our
body
clients.
speaks.
Our
Our
bodies.
body speaks. Yeah, our
Okay.
bodies speak. Yeah.
So we have Sean's contact on the screen. It has been displayed. Sean, please go ahead and type it in the chat. And okay, give your parting shot first as you type your number in the chat. Can you multitask?
Absolutely, I can multitask. I
Okay.
can, but it's a trait that I always advise people not to have, because it's there's lots of distraction. You will be distracted at many times, and it gives you're prone to a lot of errors. So
Okay.
normally, if you really need to concentrate on something, do that one thing to the best and finalize it. That one thing is very key. It can build you a lot. So that's what I usually try to tell my friends. So I've just typed my number in the chat. Oh, I actually typed directly to Belinda, which
Oh,
I should.
I've shared it. It's
Thank
okay.
you so much. Yes,
Oh,
that's my contact, and my email is what you see right here.
Fazil has shared. Okay, Fazil has shared it.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes,
please
that's my
give us your
email.
parting shot.
Um, every time you're going to engage with clients, no matter who they are. We come from all walks of lives. We come from different backgrounds. Please receive every client in the best way you would want to be received. You see, most times we blame others and we don't look back to ourselves. So, how do you want to experience something? So, in that way, you help to build what you actually want for another person to experience. We all want good things. Let no one lie to you about any. We all love good things. And in the good things that we love is the same way we need to reciprocate. So if you're going to write an email, have a personal touch to it. Yeah. If you're writing an email, let your subject be very clear. Be very precise and concise to what you want the message to be delivered. If you exercise all sorts of etiquette in terms of communication, but most of all, engage, engage. No matter how bad it's going to be, this is going to happen. You need to, you need to expect that it's going to be bad some days, it's going to be good some days. But no matter how bad or good it is, you got to smile through all that you're doing. And smiling through all that you're doing means you have to give your best back to them. That's my parting shot for today.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Sean, for your time this morning. Thank you, everyone who has tuned in. We have gone past our time, but I think it was worth it. And we've come to the end of the Business Recovery Series with Enterprise Uganda this week. My name is Belinda Namtevi. We are in Niger preparing for the Global Entrepreneurship Week that is happening next Tuesday. We would love to host all of you. Please do come down to Kampala at the Hotel Africana on Tuesday next week for the Global Entrepreneurship Week. And I've posted the link. I've also posted the link in the chat if you would like to register for a business health check. So until next Thursday, have